Yes. So we started taking the classes. I started taking your classes right from 2nd of April onwards, and I've been taking your classes quite regularly. I'd given you only 1 month break in between. That was supposed to be your summer break, and in that break also we had given you assignments. So it is your responsibility to be a part of your classroom. No, the class teacher is not going to see every time that your number has been changed. You have to inform the class in charge. Okay, and if you're not having the number of your class teacher as he told me yesterday, then he has the he must be having the roll number, or not the roll number, the phone number of many of his friends. So he could have informed his class teacher that ways. But you have to be responsible enough. You are 12th class students, you are mature enough. So it is up to you. You have to take your studies seriously, and whatever assignments are given to you in your class group, it is your responsibility to complete them, and it is your responsibility to send them in time also. You have to send them regularly, because you have been you would be given marks in your internal assessment on the basis of your submission of your assignments only. Your attendance would be counted on the basis of your submission of assignments. So if you're not sending any homework, if you're not completing the assignments, then these things are seriously going to affect your internal assessment. So complete your homework, whatever pending work is there, as soon as possible, and send the entire work to me. It not only applies to Bhavya, but to others also who have not done their work till now and not submitted them. Okay, so I'm going to start with the class today with just discussion of a few extra questions of this poem that we were doing, A Thing of Beauty. Yes, and before that, I would like to focus more on certain poetic devices and certain literary devices. The first thing is rhyme scheme. The other day, somebody told me the rhyme scheme. We had discussed it. I just want anyone to just repeat and tell what is the rhyme scheme of this poem. Anybody from the class can answer.
May I?
Yes. What is the rhyme
A
scheme?
A B B C C.
Yes, it is AABBCC. For example, if you just look at the last words of each line, and this is how you judge, you calculate the rhyme scheme. It is forever, never, keep, sleep, breathing, breathing. So it is AABBCC and so on. People are waiting in the lobby. Yes. So and next is you should be having this poem in front of you, A Thing of Beauty, and you need to tell me various examples of alliteration. Raise your hands and tell me a few examples of alliteration. What is alliteration? First of all, you need to tell me that. What is alliteration? The hand raised. Ronit. Yes, Ronit. What is alliteration?
Alliteration is a poetic device in which in which the words of the poem start from the same alphabet. For
Same
example,
consonant. We have the same consonant sound. Okay. And for example, yes, Ronit, can you give an example of that?
sweet sense of separation.
Ma'am, in this we have same consonants and like follow, furrow.
Yes. But can you give me examples of this poem?
Ma'am,
Ma'am, noble natures,
Yes, very good. Noble natures. Then what else?
cooling covert,
Cooling covert.
sprouting shady,
Yes, sprouting a shady bean. So S sound is repeated, and
simple sheep,
simple. Yes,
and cooling covert.
cooling cupboard. We have done it. Some other examples. There are many examples of alliteration in this particular poem. Still, people are waiting. Yes, find out. Find out other examples of alliteration. A sleep full of sweet dreams. Sleep and sweet. Okay, so SS in sleep and sweet. Then
Have heard in the third last line. All lovely tales that we have heard or read.
all lovely tales that we have heard already, yes, have heard. Okay, and then we have of noble natures we have done. What else? Made for searching, yes, in spite of all, searching in spite.
Sprouting a shady boon.
We've discussed it. Okay. Sprouting a shady boons, SS. Some shape of beauty, again SS. So we have so many examples of, if you look at the poem, if you go through it, you will find n number of examples of alliteration. Okay. Then there is a literary device. Waiting, people keep on waiting in the lobby. Why do they join so late? Okay, then we have metaphor. Can you tell me what metaphor is? Can you find out an example of metaphor from this poem? Anybody from the class? Who can tell?
Ma'am, bored, quiet,
Yes, it is bower, quiet. So
quiet.
how is it a metaphor?
Ma'am, in this calmness of bio is compared to calming effect of beautiful things.
Yes. The calmness that you find in a bower. What is a bower? What is it? What is it? A bower? BOWER. What is it? We discussed it already in the class.
I'm a pleasant place under the shade of a tree.
A pleasant place under the shade of the tree, as Abhi just said. So, calmness of the bower is compared to the calming effect, the soothing effect that all the beautiful things give us. So, we have metaphor here, and then there is another literary device. You can write it, you can note it in your books or in your registers also, and that is called anaphora. And how do you spell it? ANAPHORA. This is another literary device and it is called anaphora, and it means use of the same word in two consecutive lines. Means one line after the other you have the same words. Okay, and this literary device is called anaphora. ANAPHORA. So if you look at these lines, where it is written of noble natures and of all the unhealthy, find out this line, of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and over darkened ways. It is on the first page itself, the fifth last and the sixth last line. So the word of is repeated in consecutive lines. So this is known as, this literary device is called anaphora. Got it? Have you followed it? Have you noted it in your registers? Reply yes or no.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so just note it down in your books or in your
Yes, ma'am.
registers. Good. Then we have another literary device, and that is known as inversion. And as the name suggests, inversion means when the normal order of words is reversed. You can write it down also, note it down. This is known as inversion. Normal order of words is inversed. For example, in this line, if you look at this line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the sixth line from top, when the poem begins, the sixth line from top, and he says, therefore, on every morrow, are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth? So instead of saying we are wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth, he's saying, are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth? So this is known as inversion. This literary device is called inversion when the normal order of words is inverse. So instead of saying we are reading, he's saying are we reading. This is called inversion. Got it? So note it down. So there are two new literary devices that we have discussed today. One is anaphora and the other is inversion. And there is one more. That is called antithesis. ANTITHESIS. And what is antithesis? When anti means opposite. When two opposite words are placed together, that is called antithesis. Okay. For example, find out antithesis in this poem. Find out antithesis in this poem. Anyone from the class?
Old and young.
Yes, trees old and young. So two opposite words, they are placed together in the same line. So this literary device, poetic device, is called antithesis. So there are three new literary devices that you have learned today. Just note them in your books or in your fair registers. Okay, so that when you revise the poem for your exams, you have them handy. Okay, so this is about poetic devices and literary devices. Let's move on to certain extra questions from the poem. Okay. So what is the first question is, what is Keats' idea of beauty? What is his idea of beauty? What is Keats' idea of beauty?
Ma'am, the poet thinks that the beauty does not vanishes or it just keeps on increasing and do not comes in at an end. Inter it is everlasting. The beauty is everlasting.
Yes, beauty is everlasting and it
Is
does not.
that it gives us joy.
Yes, it gives us joy, and that joy also is everlasting. It is an eternal joy. It is like an endless fountain of nectar. This is the theme I told you. The very first line it sums up the theme of the poem as well. And what is the theme of the poem? The theme of the poem is like beauty is like a tonic. It is like a heavenly tonic. And it is like an endless fountain of immortal drink. It is like an endless fountain of nectar. Ronit wants to say something, wants to add up something. Yes, Ronit? Ronit, you've raised your hand.
No, I'm sorry. I raised my hand by mistake.
Okay, fine. So he says, beauty in whatever form you witness it, it might be in the form of a poem, it might be in the form of some beautiful work of literature, it might be in the form of motherly love towards a child, it might be in the form of a play, it might be in the form of a lovely object that you see in nature. All these forms of beauty, what do? They soothe, they refresh, and they give a kind of a cooling effect. They're like cooling covered. They soothe our spirits. They give us, they're helpful in giving us a good health. They are similar to that of sound sleep, and they give us a lot of mental peace. And they remove disappointment. They remove these different forms of beauty. What do? They remove disappointment from our life. They remove sadness, and they give us joy, which is eternal, which is everlasting. So this is the theme of the poem. If you're asked to summarize the theme, you can write these lines in that. Okay. The next question is how or in what form does beauty get stored in our mind? How does it get stored, and or in what form does it get stored in our mind? How does beauty get stored in our mind? This is the next question. Yes. Nobody from the class? How does, raise your hands? Yes, Abhay. Abhay?
Ma'am, it is restored in the form of thoughts inside, which
Yes.
gives us a relaxation when we are sad.
Whenever we are sad, we can relive those moments. We think of them. We are reminded of them, and because they never fade away, they never pass. That is why he says they never pass into beauty in whatever form we see. It never passes into nothingness. We can relive those moments, and whenever we think of them, we feel refreshed. We feel happy, and they move away the sadness from our life. Okay. The next question is how do we weave a wreath or a flowery, how do we weave a wreath or a flowery band? How do we weave a wreath or a flowery band? Yes. Again, Abhay. I need somebody else to answer. Okay.
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, who's this? Khushpreet?
Khushpreet.
Yes, Khushpreet. Bolo.
Ma'am, we get attached to the beautiful things around us and weave a band that binds us to our lives and eventually becomes the reason of our being living.
Yes, it eventually becomes the reason of our happiness, and it is these beautiful things. It is the flowers, it is these moments, it is these memories that we create. It is these things that tend to, bind us to our planet Earth. Why does man suffer pain and agony on Earth? Why does man suffer pain and agony on Earth? Yes, Vishwajit, you can answer.
Man suffers from pain and suffers from pain and sadness as there are some inhuman people, there is because of inhuman death, and there are some people of cruel nature, due to which we feel sadness, due to which we become sad, and there are certain moments in our life which makes us feel sad.
Yes, there are various moments in our life which make us feel sad. But the difficulty that we come across in our life, the trials and tribulation that we face in our life, and then because of the inhuman dirt, because of the scarcity of noble natures, because we find around us people who are selfish, we find around us people who are greedy, who always want to take out something from us and never want to give anything in return. So they are just there to extract something from us, and because of such kind of people around us, we feel sad and we suffer a lot of pain and suffering. Um, can human life be without sufferings? Why not? Can human life be without sufferings? Why or why not? Can human life be without sufferings? Why not? Who wants to answer?
Khushpreet.
Pushpreet and Vishwajit again. Let me just wait for somebody else to respond, and then otherwise I would ask you. Again, the same people, Pushpreet from C2 and Abhay and Vishwajit from D2. So I want some other child to respond. We have 44 participants, but out of 44, I have only 3 students who have raised their hands. What about the others? It is not that difficult a poem. Yes, who is this? Prashant, you want to answer? Prashant. Yes. Rhythm, can you respond? Rhythm. Rhythm, can you give the answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, please. The question is, let me repeat the question. Can human life be without suffering? Why not? Yes.
Human life can be without suffering if we surround ourselves with noble natures and if we bring out beauty in every object and everything we see.
Yes, it can be without suffering if we try to perceive beauty. Beauty is there all around us, and if we need to have eyes to see it, we need to have eyes to perceive it. And this is one answer. There can be you can give the answer in why not also. It is your interpretation of the thing, how you see it. Okay, so if somebody else
Why
wants,
not?
yes,
Uh,
yes, Vishwajit.
Ma'am, so basically, why not? Basically, if we say that it cannot be without sufferings because ups and downs are the part of human life, and we cannot change someone's nature. If someone is causing us harm and we are feeling sad, so it's just a part of our life. And moreover, and to overcome this, God has made beautiful things so that we can become happy by seeing them and can be relaxed.
Yes, so you can say that sufferings are a part of our life, and because pain and suffering, they're part and parcel of our life. We cannot just evade them, and we have them. We have so many difficulties. We face so many difficulties in our life, but then God has made, and then you can sum up by saying that God has made so many beautiful things, and always, difficult phases of there. We have difficult phases in our life, but they too come to an end. So we have a brighter side to life also, always. For example, we are going through a very difficult phase in our life today because of this COVID-19, this corona situation. But then this is also going to come to an end. And life, we have to be optimistic, and we should find and we should try and perceive all the beautiful things around us in order to lead a peaceful and a serene and a calm, happy life. Okay. Next is what are the unhealthy and over-darkened ways referred to by the poet? What are the unhealthy and over-darkened ways referred to by the poet? What are the unhealthy and over-darkened ways? We had discussed it while we did the poem. The unhealthy and over-darkened ways referred to by the poet. What are these? Yes, Khushpreet. Khushpreet, you can respond.
It means the evil or unhealthy or wrong ways that human beings adopt to fulfill their desires or goals.
It can be the negative path, the wrong ways that human beings adopt in order to fulfill their desires, or it can also simply mean the trials and tribulations, the difficulties, the obstacles that we face in our life every day. Okay. Next is, how can beauty drive away sadness and gloom from our life? How can beauty drive away sadness and gloom from our life? Yes. How can beauty
Ma-
drive? Yes.
Ma'am, it brings us happiness and a beautiful way of looking at life.
Yes, it when we see beautiful things, it gives us a happy way. It gives us a positive way to look at life, to look at the brighter side of life, and we find joy, we find peace by seeing beautiful things. How does the poet express his love for nature? How does the
By
poet?
telling about by telling us about the trees, the moon, and all the different things that we see in our the
Yes,
surrounding nature.
he talks about the glorious sun. He talks about the moon. He talks about the trees. He talks about he talks about trees young and old. Then he talks about simple sheep. Then he talks about daffodils. He talks about small streams. All these things and the beautiful world of the green world. All these things show and express the poet's love for nature. Is the poet captivated by physical beauty or spiritual beauty? Explain. Is the poet captivated by physical beauty or spiritual beauty? You need to explain it. Yes, Vishwajit, you can answer.
He basically he is captivated by the spiritual beauty of the nature. As well, he says that he doesn't talks about the beautiful things. He tells us that how does they give us pleasure and how does they help us. Like trees give us shade, and due to which we can relax and sleep peacefully. And moreover, the flowers gives us happiness, and the river water springs gives us makes us feel cool whenever there is a hot summer, a hot season. So basically, these are tells that how they help us and what are their advantages. So basically, I think that he doesn't talk about the he only talks about spiritual beauty, not about the physical beauty.
Yes, he's basically talking about the beauty that makes an appeal to our senses, the aesthetic beauty, the spiritual beauty. That is what he's focusing on. Very good, very nice answer, very aptly replied. Next is, despite the pain and suffering, man still loves life. Give reason. We've discussed it already, but it is repeated because let's just discuss it again. Despite the pain and suffering, man still loves life.
May I,
Yes. Yes.
Khushbu?
हाँ हाँ बोलो बेटा.
Ma'am, there are a lot of troubles and sufferings in life, but the beauty on earth makes us love life in spite of that. It is all the beautiful nature or the other things of beauty which makes us which makes love towards our life.
Yes, very good. And how can death be grand and mighty? How can death be grand and mighty? How can you call death grand and mighty?
Death can be grand or mighty when heroic people die or sacrifice their lives for others.
Yes. And Vishwajit, you want to say something, you can add.
Yes, when a person has done a lot of great things in his life, and his achievements are so big, so and his achievements are very high and are very big. So we call it a grand death, because a person of with a lot of achievements have died.
Yes, and we never forget those persons. We always keep their memories alive in our hearts by reading about them or by hearing tales about them. Okay, what is the message that John
Yes.
Keats wants to give through this poem? Can anyone just elaborate on the message?
Ma'am, can I?
Yes, yes, Harshdeep.
Ma'am, the poet tells us about to respect and give and to protect the nature that is around us. He tells us about the beauty of the environment and how it can end all the negative things in our life. and gives us a different perspective of life.
Yes, they give us an entirely different, new, and a vibrant and a joyful uh, meaning uh, meaning to our life, because the beautiful objects that we see around us, they are always act like a treasure for us, because we keep on keeping them in our minds. They never fade away, and they give us joy which is eternal. They give us joy which is everlasting, and also it not only it never passes into nothingness. It also keeps on multiplying. With the passage of time, it keeps on multiplying manifold, because whenever you think of those beautiful thoughts, whenever those thoughts flash in your mind screen, then the joy that they give you, it just multiplies manifold. Okay, so this is about the extra questions. I would be These are short answer questions that you have to answer within in about 30 to 40 words each. I would be sending these questions to you in your classbook, and you have to complete these questions along with the textbook questions that we discussed the other day. And there are certain questions related to reference to context. We would just only discuss them, and I would not be giving them to you as part of your homework. Okay, let us discuss some reference to context questions. Look at the first six lines. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but will keep a bower quiet for us, and a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. How does beauty flash upon our inner thoughts? Yes, Vishwajit. Vishwajit.
Can you repeat?
How
How
does
does?
beauty flash upon our inner thoughts?
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, basically, the beauty, ma'am, beauty never means never gets faded. It whenever we see a beautiful thing, it keeps on its beauty keeps on increasing, and it gives us pleasure. So that is why it flashes upon our thoughts.
Yes, and whenever we think of it, you can also add to it, and you need to add this line also. Whenever we think of those memories, they are, whenever they flash in our mind screen, we feel joyful, and the joy multiplies manifold by thinking upon those things. Okay. Um, how does it get treasured in our mind? You can write it. Next six line. Therefore, on every morrow are we weaving a flowery band to bind us to the earth, in spite of despondence of the inhuman dirt, of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of the unhealthy and overdarkened ways made for our searching. Yes, in spite of all. How do we bind ourselves to the earth? How do we bind ourselves to the earth? We've done it so many times. We've discussed it so many times in the class. How do we bind ourselves to the earth? Yes. I have the same students answering every time, because I don't see any other hands raised. It's always Kushpreet or Vishwajit or Harshdeep or Abhay, or no other child ever raises his or her hand. Yes, Kushpreet, you can respond. How do we bind ourselves to the earth?
Bind ourselves to earth by weaving a flowery band
It
of
is so
good.
simple. By weaving a flowery band. And what do these flowers? These flowers are things of beauty only. Okay, and you can say not only the beauty that we find in nature, but beauty that can be in a poem, beauty that can be in a play, beauty that can be any work of literature, not only literature. Whatever subject interests you, you can find beauty anywhere. And not only in subjects, we find beauty in different gestures of kindness, gestures of love, gestures of friendship, gestures of companionship. So we need to have eyes to perceive beauty is there all around us. Okay. Um, how does the poet view our life on earth? How does the poet view our life on earth? How does he view? If you just focus on these six lines.
Ma'am,
May I?
can I?
Yes. Yes, Arshdeep.
Ma'am, he tells us about the unhealthy way we live our life
Yes.
in the dark ways, and how we don't appreciate the beauty and the bond that we have with her.
Yes. how we don't appreciate beauty, how we don't appreciate the bond that we have with the earth, and how we are we surround ourselves with so much of negative thoughts, and there's so much of negativity around us, and how there are very few people who are noble, very few. There's lack of noble natures in the earth. So this is how he views life on the earth. Okay, in Human Dearth of Noble Natures, you can just explain it. So I would not ask you again. Then next is some shape of beauty moves away the pall. Pall, what is pall? Some shape of beauty moves away the pall. So many times have I told you the meaning of this word. Pall. What is pall?
Darkness.
Yes, darkness.
Darkness.
Yes. So many, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits, such the sun, the moon, trees, old and young sprouting a shady bloom, some for simple sheep in such are daffodils, with the green world they live in. What does the expression dark spirits signify? What does the expression? I want somebody else to answer now. I'm going to wait for 1 or 2 minutes. You can think over it and please raise your hands. Don't just reply like that. What does the expression dark spirit? Yes. What is dark spirit? Yes, Malvika, you want to answer?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Yes, Malvika.
Ma'am, the dark spirit means the bad or the inhuman dirt which is present on the earth, and the people who people with a selfish nature,
People
due
with
to which
selfish nature, cruel people, as Vishwajit responded. Dark spirits portray the negative thoughts which keep on lurking in our mind and how they move us away from positivity. Yes, Bhavya, very good. You're attending the class for the first time, but it's good that you are concentrating and you are responding. Good. Just keep on attending the classes regularly and also keep on sending the homework also. Yes, Ronit. You want to say something? Ronit? Ronit? What is it that
Yes,
you...
ma'am.
Yes?
Ma'am, I was saying that the dark souls refers to the inhuman death and the negative thoughts that humans suffer from. For example, sadness and disappointment and grief.
Disappointment, sadness, and the negative, and we also have selfish people around us, and we also have
Selfish
negative
people,
thoughts.
greed.
Not only that, it is not only that we have selfish people surrounded by us. It is within ourselves also. The pessimism that we have, always we think towards the negative side of things. That is also that also refers to, or you can say cruel people, selfish people. All is included in dark spirits. Okay. How do the bounties of nature add to our happiness? How do the bounties of nature add to our happiness? Bolo.
Mountains, sheep, ma'am, water, young and old trees,
Yes,
ma'am, which gives us pleasure and helps us in living a good life. So basically, the and have happy life. So basically, these are the bounties of nature.
yes. There is a lot of beauty that is present in nature, as Malvika said. Bhavya also said something. But so next is how would man suffer in the absence of beauty? How would man suffer in the absence of beauty? Bolo.
And then, can I?
Yes, Harshdeep, bolo.
And then he will only have negative things in his life to look at and no positive or beautiful things.
Yes, very good. Next lines, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season, the mid forest break, rich with the sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. How do the clear rills affect the poet? How do the clear rills affect the poet? Yes, for the meeting to end. Yes.
Ma'am, the clear rills or streams of water make a cooling shelter
Yes,
for
very
the
good.
against the hot season, and provides coolness and soothes the
Yes,
poet.
very good. Very good. One more question. Explain rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. Rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. Who would explain this expression? What does the poet mean by rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms? Yes? Bolo,
Ma'am,
Jasdeep? हाँ, bolo, bolo.
it's like the mid forest break is made rich by the blooming of beautiful musk roses.
And what do you mean by mid-forest break?
Ma-
What is mid for anybody else? Somebody else can answer. What is mid-forest break?
Ma'am, the ferns that are present in the forest.
Yes. It is the thick forest undergrowth. It is the ferns that are there, which are blooming, which are brimming with the beautiful rose flowers, which are there in between those ferns. Okay. So this is all about this poem. Now, what I want you to do is you can just revise it today, and you can complete the homework. The extra questions would be sent. I would be sending them to you in your classroom today itself, and you can complete those questions and send them to me by Saturday. Okay. And so that is all for today. Have a good day. And as I told you the other day, don't just keep on looking into your phones or your computer screens throughout the day. Give rest to your eyes and do exercises. Very important. Do exercises for your eyes also to keep them healthy.